bless your holy name, O God.
You lift up the weak and hungry.
We bless your holy name, O God. And your glory shines above the heavens. We bless your holy name, O God. Your canopy of visual light, each star your hand has set in place, bestows a blessing on the night, and all creation sings your praise. You form the moon and fire the sun, you quicken dust with holy breath, and binding us to your dear Son, renewed our life destroyed and dead. Refresh my Sabbath, restless night, awaken us to your shalom. The reign of Christ, unfailing light, where peace and justice are at home, and saints need neither moon nor sun to sing your praise eternally. O merciful, immortal one, O blessed Holy Trinity.
Hi everyone. Pastor Mike reached out to me to see if I would do one of the Wednesday night messages about how COVID-19 has affected me as a new college grad. I just graduated on Saturday, obviously no graduation ceremony or anything. It is a bit different. It's a bit weird that I didn't get to walk the stage or anything like that, but I can say I'm graduated. So just a little bit tonight about how this has affected me. Not to be self-centered or anything, but 2020 was supposed to be my year. It was going to be this huge life-changing year for me. It still has been, just in many different ways. The plan for 2020 was to go to Dingle, Ireland with my occupational therapy class from Alberta University for spring break to learn about their healthcare system, walk the stage in May for graduation, celebrating the last 5 years of hard work to becoming an occupational therapist, move into my own apartment back in Gettysburg, I'm here now, study and pass my state licensure test, find a big girl job, and move on to bigger and better things. Fortunately, I was still able to spend my spring break in Ireland, which was a life-changing experience in itself. I decided to do this trip without any of my current close friend group from school, which resulted in me becoming close friends with another friend group from Alvernia that went, and I actually made a small town connection with one of my classmates who's from Fairfield. We found out we knew each other's family and friends from Gettysburg, so that was like kind of a cool experience. After studying American healthcare for 5 years, learning Ireland's healthcare system was something very different than what we're used to. Most of their healthcare is predominantly free, with some exceptions. They don't really panic or rush for anyone or anything. Their closest hospital to Dingle is an hour away, and there's only one ambulance in Dingle. So that means if you need the ambulance and somebody comes to you, you have an hour ride to the hospital, so I hope you're not like in too much pain or in dire need. And then the next person that needs it has to wait at least 3 hours until they can get healthcare, basically. Other than that little downfall, their view on healthcare is very holistic, which means looking at the person as a whole and not just their diagnosis. They're very person-centered, which is something, holisticness and person-centered is something my profession as being an occupational therapist, well, future occupational therapist, values a lot, so that really hit home for me. While in Dingle, if we weren't learning about the healthcare system, we were touring the surrounding towns. Everything over there is so green because it rains pretty much every day. They aren't kidding. Not all day usually, just some of the time, but it definitely does rain. So in Dingle, the views are breathtaking. The experiences and memories I made there will forever be with me. And of course, the Guinness in Ireland is better than it is here. As far as the coronavirus, it wasn't something we really talked about while we were in Ireland until our plans were discussed for like returning home and coming through the airport and stuff. Our professors didn't think we'd make it through like back to the States without our temperatures being taken, a full questionnaire done. It wasn't really that bad. We successfully made it through customs with no red flags, and then 3 days after returning, the travel ban was placed, so we made it home just in time. After coming home from Ireland, I was still on a high from like being across the country. I've never been out of the country before, so that was pretty fun. But I didn't really know how to proceed with like school and my job as a home health aide. Luckily, having the job in the healthcare field was keeping me afloat and keeping me essential. As far as classes, they were normal for, I think, a couple weeks until we got the email on March 13th that said there's no face-to-face classes anymore. Until April 14th, all classes will resume online. So that was kind of weird because it was going to be like a month in limbo. I didn't really know what I was going to do, if I was going to stay in Reading and continue working to pay my bills because I had an apartment in Reading. So being able to have that job as a home health aide, I still had hours, I still had clients who needed me. So it was easy just to like keep working. But I didn't know if this coronavirus thing, since it was so new, if it was gonna, classes would reopen up or if I would like end up having to go home. So I decided to continue working to get as many hours as possible in hopes that classes would reopen in a month and a life would be back to normal. Joke's on me, huh? I had one client cancel all of my shifts since I just returned from Ireland. Her immune system is pretty low, and I understood, but there was like money out the door for me. And then I worked a couple more days with my normal client, and her husband actually got laid off. So there was my job that I thought was going to keep me afloat, and it wasn't. So I was like, what am I going to do? The same day I found out that my client's husband got laid off, we got the email from the university stating that classes would remain online the rest of the semester, there would be no senior send-off activities, and there would be no graduation. My heart broke, and I cried the rest of the day. I received that email on Wednesday, and that Sunday I was supposed to be working one more shift, wrapping everything up, and then heading home. The plans were expedited when that Friday there was a stay-at-home order for Berks County and my parents wanted me home right away. So I moved home that Friday. Earlier I stated how I would be moving into an apartment back in Gettysburg. Fortunately, with the connections I have, I was able to move right into the apartment the end of March, which wasn't supposed to be till the end of May. So that worked out in my favor. So now it has been 2 months since I've been home, well, almost 2 months since I've been home. That's my life has been uprooted from Reading and going to school as a fifth-year college student and going to graduate, and now I'm back in Gettysburg trying to make ends meet and live on my own. And I can sit here and say it still doesn't feel normal. I'm still not into a routine yet. It's very weird. I came home and I had no closure from anything. I saw my college best friends for the last time. I saw my clients for the last time. I went to my last college course without knowing it. Everything was just without me knowing, and I had no goodbyes, I had no closure. Granted, I'm being a little bit dramatic. I can see my college friends whenever I want, whenever this coronavirus is over. And I can go back to campus if I feel like it, but it's just like, in reality, that was the end of my college career. I ended my college career without even knowing it. So they really weren't kidding when they said those 5 years would be the best 5 years of my life, because I wish I could take it all back. I'm really not ready for this adult life. Other than school, Corona obviously affected that, but it also affected my family life as well. Not being able to see my grandparents, who are a really big part of my life, has really affected me. I call them often to stay connected, but it's obviously not the same. But I've loved seeing the Facebook posts or like the social media posts in general about how people are doing drive-bys or using FaceTime or getting really creative to see their loved ones, which is really awesome. And using that creativity, St. James has done the same thing, and it has really helped me in the fact of I still feel like I'm going to church because I do watch the services every Sunday morning, and the YouTube channel or whatever has really connected me, but obviously it's still not the same. One thing that has really impacted me or really did impact me, was not being able to go to church Easter Sunday morning. Like, that's my favorite service. Didn't get to go. It was pretty upsetting. But my family did a pretty good job recreating our normal Sunday morning Easter traditions. And so it kind of gave us some normalcy, but I still long to be in the physical presence of St. James. If I sit and think about this pandemic that we're in, it genuinely scares me. I'm not a person of change at all. I don't like uncertainty. Granted, those are things we deal with day in and day out throughout life, but not my favorite things. I'm afraid that things will never go back to normal. People won't be the same. People won't want to interact with each other, go out in public. We'll have to wear masks forever. We'll have to wear gloves. We'll have to be cognizant of every single thing that we're doing because we don't know how we're going to be affected by anything, like any social interaction that we have. I fear for my grandfather, who is a double lung transplant recipient, and him going back out into the world because his immune system's so low, anything could get him. I fear for my friends that have babies and their immune systems are pretty low and not as strong as they should be to encounter new viruses and everything else. So everything's just up in the air. There's uncertainty. We don't know what's going on. It's just really hard to deal with. So in the end, while I'm fearful of many things during this time period, I resort back to Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I think of this verse when I'm in uncomfortable situations or uncertain or fearing of change or whatever. But it helps me because I'm a very future forward looking person, and I always worry that I won't get where I want myself to be in life, but I just need to have patience. I have to remember that during this time and any time, God has a plan for me and God will provide. God has provided me with gracious parents and family members who are always one phone call away to help me out, 3 different part-time jobs that continue to keep me afloat during this time, the knowledge to continue pursuing my career, to take my state test and get a job, and the courage and positivity that we can get through this individually and as a community. Amen.